So for the final season in charge of Schalke, of FM24, might I add, we are in 5 competitions. I'm counting the Friendly Cup. I mean, for some reason we're playing Al Ahly from Saudi Arabia, Lyngby from Denmark, and Estrela de Amadora from Portugal in the 2nd division. Is that actually the 2nd division? It is literally the 2nd tier. I don't know why this team is in there. Maybe they've just been relegated, I'm not quite sure. But yeah, sure, we've got a Friendly Cup. Obviously, the big thing that we want to do this time around is re-win the Bundesliga. We've won it last season. Can we do it again? We have dethroned Bayern Munich for the first time in God knows how long. Can we do it for a 2nd season in a row? Can we do well in the Champions League? The answer to that one is no. I know that already. And the DFB Pokal, I'd love to win it for a 2nd time. We won it back in 23-24. Can we win it again in our final season? Hopefully we can do the double this year. Or the treble? Does the German Super Cup count towards a treble? But if it does, I want to win this as well. I mentioned at the end of last season that we had a fairly sizable transfer budget. I think it was about £47 million. It's a lot less than that, and that's because we've done a lot of transfer business already. The window opened today in game, and I'm going to show you what we've done. There's a lot going on. Nicholas Kekkerson has left the club, signing for Nuremberg for 2.1 million. Marius Muller has left the club on a free transfer going to St. Pauli. This man left in what was an unbelievably good deal for us. Arguably, we shouldn't have done it. If we were doing a longer term save, I wouldn't have done this deal. But for 12.25, potentially going a lot higher, I think up to maybe £18 million, he's gone over to Man United. Kelechi Iheanacho has left. He is signed for Rangers, and he's gone for 6.25, potentially going to 7.75 million. And as expected, Pablo Maffio has also left the club for his minimum fee release of £19.75 million. A big bit of money for a player who was only here for 1 season. Joining the club then, we have spent about £40 million. Renato Sanchez first up, formerly of PSG, Roma, Lille, Bayern, and a bit of Swansea as well. He's joined on a free transfer for a little bit of squad depth. Another player joining from PSG is Hugo Ekitike. I don't know whether that's his name. Ekitike, yeah, surely that's his name. He's joined on a free transfer from PSG. He's basically the Iheanacho replacement and probably will be our number 1 striker. Roger Ibanez has also joined on a free transfer, formerly of Al Ahly. His contract expired. I had to wait for him to fully leave the club before I can actually bring him in because he wanted about £250,000 a week, and I can't afford to pay that. He's now on 80 grand a week, joining on a free transfer at 28. He's still very good, and this is what we were trying to do over the summer, is trying to bolster our defence a little bit, and Ibanez certainly does that. Another player who also does that is Alessandro Sakati, a 23-year-old Australian who we've signed from Fiorentina for £15 million. It might be a little bit on the steep side, but I think he's actually very good for us. He can play in 2 positions, technically can play as a right back if we really need him to, but I think he's a very good player. As is Kylian Sardella, the 25-year-old Belgian defensive midfielder. I was going to say defence midfielder. He's not. I looked at his shape and went, he's a defence midfielder. He's not. He's a centre-back and he's a right-back. I think he might be our right-back. He has come in for a lot of money, £26.5 million, but I think Kylian's going to be very good. And in Season 5, we brought our 5th goalkeeper, and we've gone a bit crazy with it. Jordan Pickford. His contract at Everton expired, and we've picked him up on a free transfer. A 2-year deal for the 33-year-old, and he's still world-class, okay? He's still a world-class goalkeeper, and I think this was actually sensible. I didn't want to do it because he was 33, and then went, but he's so much better than what we've got in goal at the moment, and we've got 1 year left to go, so let's go for it. So that is our transfer business so far. We still have 2 months worth of transfer window to go, £23 million to spend. We've also got some deadwood as well in our squad, so we might even shift on a bit more, so that number might even go higher. And we've got £184 million in the bank, so I might even have a cheeky little chat with the board and say, can we have a bit more of that? It's going to be an expensive summer, so let's go forward and find out how expensive it's going to be. Actually not that expensive. We've actually brought in more money than we spent, I think. Sean Longstaff has left the club. He's gone back to England, signing for Southampton. £17.25 million. We did have to pay an intermediary fee for this one because basically he wasn't going to play. He's definitely not going to play, and I'll show you why in a minute. Frederick Jackal has also left the club for £600,000. This man has left for about £800,000. And Blessing Mulween has left for about £325,000. Joining the club, just 3 more players. And one of them cost absolutely nothing. Alexander Pavlovic, 23-year-old German defence midfielder, formerly of Bayern Munich, brought in once again for a bit of squad depth. He was brought in when I sold Longstaff. I went, I probably need somebody to kind of fill the gap that Longstaff is going to leave when he's not sat on the subs bench. Pavlovic is that guy. And the guy who's actually going to fill in the space on the field is Julio Decima, a 19-year-old Argentine international signed from Boca who can't play as defence midfielder, but he can play everywhere else in the middle of the pitch. And he's absolutely filth. and he's got 12 tackling. So I feel like he should be able to play that defensive midfield role fine. So we are going to have to retrain him and force play him in that position. And he's cost 8.25, potentially rising to £10 million. For this player, who's arguably, I mean, he is a wonder kid, but arguably he's 4.5-star current ability in our squad. That's just silly. And he's not the only silly Argentine we brought. He's not as good, I'll be honest. Ernesto Villafane, maybe, 18-year-old right winger, signed from San Lorenzo. He's got no caps, but he has come in for £7.5 million. I'm going to retrain him as a striker. I feel like he's much better as a striker, so that is what we are going to do. I imagine he's going to get some game time between now and the end of the season, but we're not going to lock him in. What drew me to this guy, by the way, those mental numbers are ridiculously good. I absolutely love a determination of 20. That, to me, is amazing. So that is all the transfer business we have done, and in fact that is all the transfer business we are going to do. We have loaned out some other people. Yves Schmitz has gone on loan to his native Luxembourg because basically he was never playing for us. We've also loaned out Sadiq Fafana and Crepin Diatta as well, both of those going out on loan. I don't think anyone else is really worthwhile mentioning. In the league, we are currently top of the table. We have played 3 times. We have won 3 times. HSV, VfB Stuttgart, and absolutely demolished Hansa Rostock 6-1. So that is a good start to that. We have won the German Super Cup 2-0. Lassina Traore and Giannis with the goals in this one. We are obviously in the DFB Pokal. We're in the Champions League. And we also won the Friendly Cup. How can I forget we won the Friendly Cup by beating a Portuguese second division side 7-0 in the final. Just in case you're wondering, for the Champions League games, we have Shakhtar, we have Monaco, we have Arsenal, we have Tottenham, we have Copenhagen, Galatasaray, Bayern, not fair, I don't like that one, and Benfica as well. So I'm hoping we're going to do a little bit better in the Champions League this time around. Just getting in the top 24 is probably what I want. I'd love to finish in the top 8. Don't think that one's going to happen. So yeah, it's been a very busy summer, and we still technically have £8 million to spend. I was desperately trying to spend that money and couldn't kind of find anyone to do the job. We have locked in 3 players for the start of the season, and you might be confused as to why. Okay, so Giannis, number 1. He's going to be locked in on that left-hand side, mainly for the same reasons as last season, where if we don't lock him in, he's probably not going to get too much game time. In midfield, we have Decima, the 19-year-old new signing, because we need to train him and force train him there. If we don't, and this is funny to me, they play him as a centre-back. Can I just point out, he's 5'7". He's not a centre-back. And the other defensive midfielder is Miljan Krstić, who I am forced playing him because he's wanted by lots of big teams, or was until I gave him a new contract. There were bids from AC Milan, there were bids from PSG and all sorts, and I went, let's go for it. Let's just go for 2 young kids in defensive midfield. We've got some very good players who can play there. Ibanez is going to be a centre-back, but we've got Schellenberg, we've got Pavlovic, we've got Jashari as well. So we've got 3 decent players ahead of him, but I kind of like that pairing. I like that partnership. Yes, it's not good now, but come the end of the season, I think they're going to be very, very good players. I mean, already Decima is a very good player. So let's jump forward then to mid-December to see how well things have gone. Are we still top of the table? That's kind of all we really need to be doing. Let's stay top of the table. Not quite. Not quite. We are second place, 2 points behind Bayern. We have lost twice, one of them being Bayern, one of them being an absolute destruction by SC Freiburg, who are down in 10th place. Bayern have lost twice against Freiburg as well, and Bayer. So we are literally only behind them because we have drawn 1 more game. Otherwise, we'll be joint on points, and arguably we might even be joint on goals if we won the game 2-0 or 3-1 or whatever. So it's still very close. It is still very close. VfB Stuttgart as well, not too far behind. I'm hoping this is a 2-horse race, and obviously I'm hoping that we do win it. In the Champions League, things have gone quite well. We have drawn twice. Copenhagen and a 5-5 draw against Tottenham, because who likes defending? Who likes defending in this world? Also, 4 wins. 6-2 against Galatasaray, 2-1 against Arsenal, 3-1 against Monaco, and a 3-0 against Shakhtar. We have started the Champions League off very well. We have already technically qualified for the next knockout round, but we do still have 2 more games to play. And I want to finish in the top 8, because then we kind of miss potentially playing an Atletico Madrid or a Juve or a Rangers. I mean, Rangers will be fine. And we're also in the DFB Pokal quarter-final. We always seem to get this far anyway, come December. We are on course. I mean, we're not on course at all, but it is a possibility that we could win the quadruple. The Bundesliga, the Champions League, the DFB Pokal, and the German Super Cup. Or if you want to be really cheeky, is it the quintuple with the Friendly Cup? No one cares. And at the halfway point as well this season, Julio Decima has managed to pick up another cap for Argentina, and he's now almost fully trained as a defensive midfielder this is the role that we play him in as well. So he's only 3-star technically, but when you look at the numbers that are highlighted, he's good. He's just a really good footballer. He's worth 70 to 79 million. He cost us not even £10 million. That's madness. Just seen as well, Villafane has managed to play one game in the first team as well, scoring a goal in the DFB Pokal. I mean, was it recent? It was, against Dynamo Dresden. He started the match, scored the goal, and I imagine we got through that. I mean, we definitely did, because we're still in the competition. So at the halfway point then, things are looking very, very good. We're now going to jump forward to the end of the season, and will we need to clear a lot more space in our trophy cabinet for another Bundesliga title, another DFB Pokal, and maybe even a Champions League as well? Let's find out. So starting off with the least likely, the Champions League. We have unfortunately not won the Champions League. Chelsea have won it, beating Arsenal in the final. Another all-English final for a second season in a row. We lose to Porto 6-4 in aggregate because we lost 5-0 in the second leg. That's ridiculous. We were literally 4-1 up after the first leg, and we lose the second leg 5-0 and get knocked out of the Champions League. But I'm kind of okay with that because we have won the DFB Pokal for a second time. We have bookended this save with a win in Season 1 and a win in Season 5. 3-2 victory after extra time. So the first time we won it, I think it was like an 83rd minute goal from Lasme and then a penalty in extra time, which gave us, first of all, the draw to take to extra time and then the win. This time around, we were actually 2-0 up until half-time. In the second half, Dortmund brought it back to 2-2, and then it was Becker with the goal. Vitale Becker, who is a left-back. I mean, he's playing for Schalke too. He's played 4 times, apparently, in his entire career for the first team, but for some reason, why did you play in the final? Did you play the whole thing? No, you came on in the 79th minute, scored the winning goal. Also, we should have maybe made it 4-2, but Traore's goal was, I'm guessing that means disallowed. Fair enough. The fact that we won the DFB Pokal for a second season in a row, or not in a row, second season out of 5, that's very good. I'm happy with that. But unfortunately, we have not won the Bundesliga. Bayern once again sit back on top of the table, 84 points to our 77, so we were actually 7 points away from beating Bayern Munich. Goal difference actually was not too different. I'm guessing, I mean, the fact that I saw draws, what are those draws? 8 draws. If we turned like 5 of those into wins, we would have won the league. Kind of frustrating, to be honest. We've also got Jordan Pickford, who's now 34, in his debut season playing in Germany. Bear in mind he's got 1 year left on his contract. He's managed to keep 19 clean sheets in all competitions and pick up 2 winners' trophies, technically, in the DFB Pokal and the German Super Cup. I'm happy with that. I do just want to take a look at Decima as well. As a defensive midfielder, he's now 4.5-star current ability as a DLP on defend. We play that one. 3.5 stars, so he's getting better in that defensive midfield role. 7 goals, 2 assists to his name. I think that's all we managed to lock in the end, because I think a lot of the other players, I actually took them out because they were just playing consistently anyway. So I thought, what's the point in keeping them in? If we sort by goals, we have got 6 players scoring double figures. Özcan, who is now 22, he's still good. Obviously, this is actually a terrible season for Özcan, because I'm guessing he didn't play much, did he? We've got Ekatike, who managed to score 12 goals. Didn't start a huge amount, just the 14 starts. David Brooks scoring 13 goals this season. Last year he got 7. He got 10 in the league this time around. Giannis on the left-hand side, and I think eventually playing in the middle as well, managed to get 9 goals in the league, 16 in all competitions. Traore on 21, 11 of them coming in the league. And then top goal scorer is Malik Tillman, which is not what I was expecting at all. He's managed to get 15 goals in the league, 22 in all competitions. Just a quick look as well at assists. So we've got Tillman and Giannis up there in number 3, or 2 and 3. And we've got Matriasini, who's picked up 17 assists. I'm guessing you were playing as a right or left back. Left back by the looks of it. So Matriasini picking up a lot of assists. He's wanted. Not that it makes too much difference. He's wanted by Saudi Arabia, so maybe he might move on in the summer. And speaking of the summer, we are going to resign from Schalke, and there's going to be one more video, which is probably going to be quite a short video, under 10 minutes, I imagine, where we're going to go 5 years into the future just to see what has happened to the Schalke side. Has it been absolutely ripped apart, and will they get relegated? Arguably, they shouldn't get relegated, but the fact that I want them to still be challenging for the title. Can't imagine they're going to win it, because I feel like Bayern are just going to run away with it once again. But as long as they're still challenging for the title, I will be happy with that.